Hamidakyopi, Tatewi means Amachiapi, Iuha Chante Washte Napechuzapi. Greetings, relatives. It's a beautiful day today, and we here at Thunder Valley are happy to host some special visitors, some special guests here to take a look specifically at our food sovereignty work and some of the the plans and visions we have for our community in regards to developing our own food system, to being sovereign when it comes to providing for the nutrition and food resources for our community and especially our children. And so, we're here with a whole host of people, our new Director of Food Sovereignty, Chance Weston, Lynn Cooney, our Deputy Director, Brandon Big Eagle, our Coordinator, and I'll allow our special guests here to introduce themselves. We're really honored to have them here and to share this time with them to talk a bit about what we're doing here at home in Oglala country. So good morning to everybody. I hope you're all having a good day, and it's a good day to start out, talking about our food and our life source as Lakota people. So welcome.
Well, good morning. My name is Cindy Long, and I'm the Administrator of the Food and Nutrition Service at USDA, and we are very grateful to Taven and her team for welcoming us here to Thunder Valley. I have along with me some representatives of our regional office, and Cheryl, who is our regional administrator, and Josh is our public affairs director. And we're just really honored to have the opportunity to be here and to hear and learn about Taven, your vision and the work you're doing here at Thunder Valley to support Indigenous foodways and really to start a conversation and a thought process about how USDA and our programs can best support you in that goal. So we're really looking forward to seeing everything that you are doing here today. And so again, thank you for having us.
No, absolutely. We also have Heather Don Thompson.
Oh, yes. Heather wasn't in the room. And so, out of sight, out of mind, Heather. We have Heather Don Thompson, I'll let Heather introduce herself.
Good morning, everyone. We're delighted to be here with you guys today. I know many of you because I'm also a community member in Rapid City, and I'm from Cheyenne River. But I have a new job, and I work in DC half of the time. I'm in the office of the Secretary at the United States Department of Agriculture, and I am the head of his Tribal Relations Department. So I'm just delighted to be traveling with my colleague today, Administrator Long. This is historic to have her here today at Pine Ridge to see the food sovereignty movements, all of the programs that USDA interacts with that Administrator Long just talked to you about. We of course have WIC, the school lunch program, school nutrition guidelines, the commodities or the FDIPR program, the summer feeding program. All of that comes from the United States Department of Agriculture. And it affects so many of our lives in so many different ways. And one of the things, obviously, we're talking about today with Ms. Means is Indigenous foods and how we at the federal government can do a better job incorporating local and Indigenous foods. So we're looking forward to seeing your facilities here. I think are you growing choke cherry trees, I heard? Yep. You're trying to grow some Indigenous foods here yourself, and we're excited to see your chickens. So thank you guys so much for having us here today.
So now we'll begin our tour.
Great.
So we're glad you're all along, and we'll get started.
Great.
Hopefully that a little warmer.
palace, as we like to call it. And so it consists of, actually, Brandon's been here a lot longer than I. He can go into this.
So hello everyone, my name is Brandon Big Eagle. I recently moved into the coordinator position here, but prior to that I spent 3 years in the food sovereignty assistant where I trained in this exact model here. So what you're looking at here is our demonstration farm. To the farthest south there at the end, you can kind of see our garden space. And then a little closer here to us with the trees is one of our paddocks, our geothermal greenhouse, and then this is the coop. All of this here works in conjunction with one another. They're all tied in together, based out of regenerative agriculture. So the main reason that we're doing the chickens is our soil here has pretty much all the components we need for growing food, except for one. It really lacks in nitrogen, which the chickens provide through their feces. It's really nitrogen rich. But this model is based out of Main Street Project in Minnesota, and we've kind of taken that and adapted it for our area here. So in this paddock, in their original design, they housed hazelnuts. So we've tried that here on this side, but we found that it hasn't taken quite as well. My thoughts being that it could be possibly that we're in a drier area. And I know they have a little more rain precipitation that way. And in this paddock here, I think you guys might have already heard about, is where we house our traditional plants. So we have our choke cherries, our plums, and also buffalo berries here in this paddock.
We can take a walk over there.
Yeah, we can check it out. But they all work in conjunction with one another. So chickens are like a jungle fowl originally. And this design really kind of brings that back for them by providing that canopy with the trees. And then of course they work in conjunction by working the ground themselves. And then of course adding that nitrogen matter in. And we also put in our own biomass. It's been in the form of straw for the past 2 years. You can definitely see the change. Not so much here now in the winter, but during the summer, definitely. When I first started, they told me that this area was a lot of like clay soil, not very much growth happening. But during the summer, you'll see a lot of green grass. Cover crops do very well here now, and out of all of it, that's our main focus is the regenerative aspect of it, and the byproduct of it here being the eggs with this unit. This unit is only half size because it is a demonstration farm. So like you mentioned earlier, we house 600 chickens here. A full production unit would be closer to 1,200. But near our peak, we've had about 26 dozen eggs laid per day, probably close to about 200 dozen in a week. There is some variation in it, as we've kind of played with like different breeds of birds as well to determine what works best in this area. One thing that we do face is a cold winter. But we can step inside too and you guys can kind of see the weather.
So this is the egg wash. Yeah.
Yeah, so in this area is where we process a lot of the eggs. The small tabletop egg processor here can handle up to about 1,000 eggs per hour. So we haven't quite hit full capacity with that yet. But we do have, I think there's a carton over there that was previewed. Yeah, outside, I don't know if people would be interested in seeing that. So we do have our own.
Oh, they're fake. But why don't you take a picture of her with the belly? Got us all excited. Scramble some up.
Yeah.
So we do have our own label, and as I mentioned before, we've sold to Redwood in Rapid City, branch line feeds in Martin, South Dakota. And then we've also done quite a few donations through our food sovereignty coalition with our partners. And that's when we kind of start to have like an excess of eggs in here. But we've done donations also to like food pantry down in Oglala, it's Conscience Alliance down there. But yeah, so this is where a lot of processing happens, and through these doors, you guys will be able to see some more of the design system that we have set up here. In this model, we try to have as minimal contact as we can with the birds. So we've designed this fencing alley to where this guy ideally is all the birds, and they kind of have their own natural area to live in. So currently, right now, we have 218 birds here. There's a mix of Rhode Island reds and red stars in here. But this is the flock that we will be facing. And then possibly trying something, another large brown blue, that's kind of been our brand so far. And then just looking at other things that might possibly work. The Rhode Island reds, we've had some issues with in the past. And then the request so far that we've had is in the golden brown. Really back and forth to the system. So just kind of gathering some more data on what works. Hopefully being able to take this exact system and implement it about relationship. And then we'll work in conjunction with them to where they would bring their eggs here, just like here. We would purchase from them, and then we would process them, package them, and sell them. And that way we can build up that their support. They can, yeah. Usually on site here at the office. We tried to also kind of break into some other local markets here. One thing that we kind of face is just the pricing issue. Just because it is large down here. They're kind of labeled as like a luxury. So that's one area that we kind of can't get into some with them. The luxuries. And then also how much we do for them to use. We do food on grains. It does make for a more nutrient density, less water. But at the same time, the prices are a little higher than your typical Wagyu. Most of the Wagyus here are yours for around 60 cents. Right now we sell for $2 a dozen. And then sometimes $2.50.
Can you market them? You mentioned that nutritional security over the marketing of them.
We do. It's one of our main talking points. We're as close to organic as we can be without actually labeling. And I think that's been a decision that was made in the past to avoid that label. Because a lot of vendors typically tend to raise the prices a little more since they think them. But yeah, so they're all naturally fed grains. And of course, there's a bit of Roman paddocks. Maybe not today, but the other day.
And selecting, I think you said that you have to sort of bring in your food. So you're selecting which ingredient the type of chicken. Is there any difference in terms of the level of fertilizing?
It can somewhat vary. Some breeds might not like to wander as far out into the paddock. They can become pretty to where they lay their eggs or they want to mess and stuff. So some do a little better in the free range than others. So it's something that we take into consideration. And then of course their hardiness to cold weather, health,
How long do they live?
Summer, usually here inside is around 80 to 90, so it's a little cool in the summer, but of course outside
So you need a bird that can handle the experience.
Yeah, definitely something that you have to play around with and be aware of at all times. Especially during the winter, that's usually the hardest. Because we want to have like a well ventilated area, but then that can also lead to drops. But if you guys want, we can
Sure.
move along to the greenhouse.
Let's get out here.
So currently, we haven't had any talks with just because it was like a small demonstration area, and also collecting the eggs, we don't want to run into the chance of having fertilizer. So then we just kind of almost like a team. Yeah,
The ones we tried. So,
kind of just like I mentioned, it's like
Oh, those are all hazelnuts?
used to be.
Used to be.
what does
But if you guys want to see the greenhouse?
I mean, that's kind of like a perfect example, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The externally brought in plants are not doing as well as the
Yeah. You guys want to take a look at the greenhouse? So this is our greenhouse. A lot of it is from the geothermal pumps. Actually very renewable as far as
This is where you're having, not this particular one, but you're having dinner in one of these.
This is where we do a lot of our propagation, do a lot of our starter plants. So we don't have anything going here yet, but we will in about a week or two. I'll plan it ready to go.
For like your guys' plum plants, Kate, and you know, your plums and your choke cherries, did you guys grow those from seed? How did you know how those got
I believe that we have grafted those from another limb. Of another
Grafted
person.
them? Because that would be an amazing community service too. You can't go to a greenhouse and buy
Yeah.
a wild plum plant or a choke cherry plant.
So like I said, this will be, come back in a month, we'll be having some fun in here. So.
Nice and warm in here.
Yeah, so the goal is once we get everything established, to go year round. Yeah.
I was saying you're having dinner in one of these tonight up on Palmy Lake.
Uh-huh. Well, it feels like it's 58 in here.
Yeah.
yeah.
And monitoring it.
Now let the trees spread.
Yeah, so these are our traditional trees here. I think any of you know that on the side. Yeah. I think they were all young ones when they were planted. They were planted before my time. But this is, I think, going into the 6th year, I want to say. So these first 1, 2, 3,
It took them that
4.
long to have their first one.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
took a while.
These first 4 rows are the choke cherries. All these taller ones here across the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think 7 or 8 rows here, all plums. And then in the very back there are buffalo berries. Those we kind of had a loss on with our summer youth. They were in here mowing and they couldn't tell the difference between so a lot of those are missing now. But yeah,
They
like
learn.
Kate mentioned, this past year has been the first year that they've actually fruited, so we're pretty excited about that.
I mean, this is a big movement, not just in gardening, but this permaculture concept of repropagating indigenous foods in people's yards and on the side of hills. But it is a challenge because they do take longer to grow. They are hard to propagate. They're hard to do the seed collection. So that's a huge community benefit that you bring to the whole Oglala Sioux Tribal Nation, is how you actually got these to grow and how other people can start to do the same. Like, every single HUD house should have like an entire garden of wild plums and cherry trees.
I don't know if you want to walk over, but it's just a garden area. It's nothing to it right now. It's pretty much just a bare layout. But yeah.
You want us to go to the office from here?
So let's go to the office.
I think we can just finish back at the community center.
Okay. too far, but the bees are down.
Bees.
Yeah.
You know, the rosebud, redcoat has a, is it redcoat? Rosebud has that used bee honey.
Yeah.
Probably buy your honey.
Yeah.
We buy their honey for the Indigenous Food Initiative, yeah.
Really limited in the number though, just because of the COVID restrictions.
Right.
A lot of our staff have taken advantage of that opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to learn how to can.
So I don't think they're growing chokecherries like you are. They're collecting them though. There's chokecherry jams and the wild grapes, and they have a pretty sophisticated and active canning.
Well, we were really excited about the the harvest that we got this year with the chokecherries, and did some classes on chokecherry patties and how to do all that and keep them for year round because we use them so much in ceremony. Right? To make different types of wasa and different ceremonial food, and we're drinking wojapi and even like the chokecherry juice that's used in ceremony. So that's the traditional lifeways aspect of the work because we use it directly in our ceremonies. So growing the things that we need to continue our lifeways, it was really exciting to be able to do that this year.
So I don't know if you've heard us tell the story before, Cindy, about these chokecherries, but the seed has cyanide in it. And so if you look at a lot of Western foods or books, it says and you mash the berry with the seed, which is different than a lot of Western books are. Western books say just take the juice out. But when you prepare it traditionally, you crush the berry with the seed. The acidity in the berry negates the cyanide in the seed, and it becomes an anti-carcinogen. But it's only an anti-carcinogen if it's mashed together traditionally. So mash your seeds with your chokecherries.
That sounds fairly important.
Well, just want to thank you, Lynn. I don't do anything you want to share with them.
Well, no, I just really thank you guys for taking the time, and we appreciate you coming down and listening to how everything works here, and we have reasons for all that we do. And so food sovereignty is an initiative by itself, but you heard us talk about all of the things that we utilize as part of it. And so it's that traditional ecological knowledge is something that we hold to, and so just thank you for listening.
Well, thank you for having us, and I feel like in a fairly short amount of time, I've learned a new concept. I mean, your LifeWays concept is something I will bring away from this trip, and I feel like you've actually shown us what that means in this very short amount of time in terms of how you're raising the chickens is related to the gardening and the regenerative agriculture work you're doing. So it's kind of picture is 1,000 words. So it was wonderful to have the opportunity not only just to hear about your vision, but also to see it in action. So thank you.
Thank you.